Except for that, he's gonna shave that mustache. Oh, that's not supposed to.
Hello, welcome to this week's episode of podcast.
Welcome to the Exotic Trash Podcast. I'm your host, Joey Simcoe, and with us today we got James Clay Skidmore. The whatever
The co-host.
Yeah, whatever.
We haven't done this in 4 weeks, and you've forgotten how to do the title card.
No, you forgot how to do it. You just said welcome to podcast. That's the old one. And we've also got Timothy Demuth, and I'm not going to say Mr.Monsour's full name because of legal reasons.
You can do that once you graduate. You can do that, but yeah, I'm recording live from Monsour Center for Talented Youth here on Oak Street. I'm going to rename my dining room the Center for Talented Youth and Exceptional Children. But anyways,
fantastic.
So, today we're going to be talking about cryptozoology, and actually,
for our Halloween episode,
we're going to open up with some questions. And the first question is, what is that? It's literally just, what is cryptozoology?
Who is that question submitted by?
This is from an anonymous question thing,
Gotcha.
so it's, yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Anybody want to define that, or what do you want to do? Want me to define it? You guys want to
science, man.
Well, it's a pseudoscience.
Well, it is a pseudoscience because cryptozoology, and there's actually people that get degrees in cryptozoology, but it's all online garbage, like those fake schools. Like cryptos, it's really not even zoology. It's like studying things like Bigfoot, Chupacabra, the Loch Ness Monster, Sasquatch, Loveland Frogman. So they like to say that they're scientists, but they're really not. And it's really not a science because show me your data.
Right.
Okay.
Oh, we have this video. Okay. That's great.
Kind of like when you watch like Ghost Adventures. That stuff's all fake too.
No, Zach would never lie to me.
You watch. I actually watched that.
I haven't watched as much.
I saw
but...
a clip from Ghost Adventures yesterday where it was literally all just a coincidence.
But why does he wear that mask? We're getting off topic, but why does Zach wear that mask?
Oh, I have no clue. I think it makes him look kind of cooler.
No, nothing could make them. Anyways, good. That's cryptozoology. So, anyways.
All right.
Call out to Zach.
Next question we have here. Do you believe the Chupacabra is real, and what's its origin? Well, like with most cryptids, there's no scientific data to back up their existence. So, but the origin of the Chupacabra is, it's more like, so goats were mysteriously found with their necks open and like blood gushing out. So they just assumed, oh, let's not blame this on coyotes or anything. Let's blame this on a fake creature.
I think there's some merit.
Well, I think because Chupacabra literally means, I think, goat sucker.
Yeah.
And I think the first place it was reported was, I think, in Puerto Rico. So Tim, I got a question for you. What was when you think cryptozoology? What's the first thing that comes to your mind, Tim?
The first thing that comes to mind is probably like Bigfoot. And
why?
Just because that's like the most widely referred to like urban legend, I guess.
So okay. Well, we're gonna talk about urban legends here. I disagree with that. But Tim, I haven't been able to teach live for a while. Was Bigfoot the first like cryptozoology, the first animal you remember like hearing about?
Wait, what?
Like Bigfoot, Loch Ness. Which was the first one you think you ever like heard about? Was it Bigfoot?
It was either Bigfoot or it was the Lake Erie monster. Because I feel like one of my siblings told me about that while we were at the lake when I was a kid, just to scare me.
I could see Annie doing that. Alice is too nice. Annie would do that. Nope.
It could have been one of my old. It could have been.
Call out.
Looks like we're using names.
Oh, sorry. The person not known as Annie could have done that.
You already said her name. I mean, you already said her name. Like, that's honestly weird that you heard about the Lake Erie monster before you heard about the
Loch Ness, because they're based on one another.
But like,
it's kind of interesting because it's called Bessie. Bessie is the Lake Erie one,
Yeah, I think it's like South Bay Bessie or something.
And then if you go up to parts of New York, it's called Champ because of Lake Champlain. Yeah, and then so Joey, what was your first cryptid?
I'd have to say it was either Bigfoot or the Loch Ness. It was the Loch Ness monster. Because I remember like watching something about it when I was like 5, which obviously I don't have that good of a memory of it because I was 5. So it was more like just a glimpse of like the famous picture of the Loch Ness monster.
Is it the one that looks like a finger, somebody's finger?
The black and white one where it's like, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like somebody's finger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway. What about you, Jimmy?
Oh, it was Bigfoot. Bigfoot far and away. I've been hearing about Bigfoot since I was like 4.
I'm trying to, like, I think mine was the Bigfoot. Bigfoot, not Bigfoot. I remember like watching like a movie about it, and it freaked me out. I think I had nightmares about Bigfoot. I was probably like 7 or 8. So
was it Harry and the Hendersons?
What's that? No.
Was it Harry and the Hendersons?
That was it was like a movie. Gotta remember, I grew up in the 80s, so it was probably like a late 70s, early 80s movie, and it was like this family they were living out in the woods up in the Pacific Northwest. You could hear the Bigfoot like screaming at night. It was kind of it was
kind of terrifying.
It was So
Yeah.
throw that in with my watching The Evil Dead. That's why I had a fear of the woods for a while. The Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Anyways.
And the woods are just scary.
Reference to the last episode of podcast, you check that out.
That's when Mr. Monsour was a special guest because it was his first time on the show.
Yeah, now he's just guest.
Well, I was kind of hoping you guys would have had another podcast in between, but
well,
errors.
He just stopped doing podcasts after that one.
Joey went off the grid for a bit, and now that he's back.
Yeah, now that I'm back on the grid.
We do have a sort of list to follow, though, or at least I do, that we can kind of go down. And it starts with the Loveland Frogmen.
So I think something that's really interesting about all these cryptids, and anyone else hear that? Interference.
Someone's broke.
It might be my neighbors starting their truck. Hold on. Does it sound like a car?
Yeah,
it's my. They don't believe in mufflers.
Straight pipe exhaust only.
Hold on. I'm going to try to go to a different part of the state, the different part of the Center for Talented Students.
Wow. What?
Is that better?
Yeah, much better.
All right.
But like, I think something that's so interesting is that there's all these different stories about like just how the size is different and like how the description is different for like each encounter with
on the frogmen.
Yeah, especially with the frogman, because like his height varies from 4 to 6 feet. 2 feet is pretty noticeable if you ask me.
Yeah, but if you look at regular people as well, there's like a 2-foot difference between me and you. So I mean, it's understandable that there'd be a 2-foot difference between.
You're not 7'10".
There'd be a difference between frogmen and.
Well, I think the frog's only like 4 foot though, isn't he?
Yeah, 3 to 4 feet.
I read the 4-foot one when it was standing on its hind legs, which.
So that's the thing. I've also read that he
didn't get on its hind legs. But...
Although it's been seen as recently as 2016, while people were playing Pokemon Go.
Pokemon Go, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm just saying that's a big jump from 1955 to 2016. So either there's a lot of frogmen.
Well, there was an encounter in the 70s too by a police officer that said he saw it.
Was that the Matthews guy that tried to shoot it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it got washed away in the river.
Oh, so he killed it.
Yeah, he killed it.
Well, he claims he killed it.
So we've made enemies with the frogmen.
Just one of them, at least. They don't know if he's dead or not.
Oh, no.
But, then that means that there are multiple frogmen because one of them was shot and killed. You know what I'm saying.
Are there any frog ladies, per chance?
I don't know what you're saying.
Well, if there's frogmen and there's multiple, there's more than likely frog ladies, Jimmy.
But how come only one's been seen?
What do you mean one's been? There's been a couple seen.
How do we know it's not the same one?
Well, in theory, they killed the one.
I don't use in theory with me.
Well, this is
I know better.
pseudoscience. We can use in theory and pseudoscience.
Yeah.
You're really
Okay.
pushing his buttons.
But, you know, like...
I'm just listening to the exhaust outside the window, sorry. Yeah, you are pushing my buttons.
I think I can smell it.
Yeah, it's all right. It's like those Fast and Furious tipping. It's
Yeah.
Fast and Furious tip and drift.
Yeah.
Anyway,
But, yeah,
good.
it's probably a couple, because they didn't notice any bullet holes in 2016. So it's probably a new frog.
Well, also
Man.
in an encounter in the 50s, there was 3 spotted at once by one man as he was driving through Loveland. But you know, again,
You got to wonder why is it the most popular one in Ohio? The giant frog.
Yeah.
like
So a lot,
weird,
they're
'cause
cooler.
it's
There's
really
other
known
cool
for
ones.
frogs. Yeah, there's definitely cooler ones. Like we have a werewolf.
I would like to say that they state it has a wand that they wave over their heads. That
I didn't see that.
that upsets me a little bit. I don't know about that one.
But the magic frog
Yeah, the frog might have like a wand.
got a little lightning bolt on its forehead.
Yeah.
What show is it where there's like a wizard frog?
Apparently Loveland, Ohio.
No, there's. Oh no, I'm thinking of Hypnotoad from Futurama.
Hypnotoad. That's a new one.
That's a completely different show.
So does Tiffin have its like own version of a cryptozoology thing?
We have Screaming Mimi Bridge, but
Every county has Screamy Mimi.
Oh yeah,
Bridge.
ours was called we have Screaming Mimi Bridge. Like you're supposed to pull on the bridge, right? Turn your lights off, put your keys on the hood, right?
Oh, I've never heard that.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so this is not really a cryptozoology thing, more of it. Maybe we should have called this urban legend. So you would
You still can.
drive on, and and this was I forget the name of the road now, but anyway, supposedly an Amish lady in a buggy. Their buggy went off the bridge. She lost her baby. So you're supposed to hear her see her lantern, and listen to her calling for her kid. And so you pull onto the bridge, you turn off your lights, you put your keys on the hood, and you're supposed to sit there and wait. You're supposed to be able to hear her calling and see the lantern. But what's Screaming Mimi Bridge? Like, have any of you done it?
I've done it.
I did it
Tried to
one
do it.
time, but
Or what are you supposed to do?
you're supposed to go and turn off your car, or maybe
Yeah, it's turn off.
Just turn off your car.
roll your windows down, and do something else, and then supposedly you're supposed to like see or hear her scream.
You're supposed to hear her.
Yeah,
I
you're
don't think you're supposed to see her.
So what is the backstory of Screaming Mimi?
So
There's 2 of them that I've heard. One of them is that like something about it was her wedding day and the husband wanted to like marry somebody else, so he decapitated her and threw her off the bridge. I don't believe that one.
I think I've heard that one. I think that was the one I heard.
the one I heard was that she actually killed her 2 children in the
That's the other one.
creek or whatever. Like she drowned them. and
Ours
then
is
she drowned
violent.
herself.
Where is Screaming Mimi Bridge?
It's
I'm not
like
good
out
with
in the middle
roads.
of
It's
nowhere.
like it's down my road, isn't it?
I think it's
I don't know.
by your road.
I think
I don't know where you live.
If you go River Road and keep going right,
What are you doing?
like for a while, you'll eventually come to a bridge that looks like it. And since that one's more made up than the rest, go for it.
So you gotta look for the bridge that looks like it. Gotcha.
Yeah. It's a very small bridge. It's like a
It is.
5-footer at most over like a creek. I
So
mean, it's,
Screaming Mimi would be the closest thing that Tiffin has to a Bigfoot.
Probably.
well, I don't know. Tiffin may have a couple big feet.
You know, sometimes I do walk around in the woods, and people have been like, "Hey, is that Bigfoot?" And I'm like, "No, it's not."
So you walk around barefoot, is what you're saying, Joey?
More than barefoot.
You gotta be careful. Okay, this is supposed to be school. Well, anyways.
That's not school inappropriate.
Hopefully
Yeah.
you don't get hookworm. You can get hookworm for walking around barefoot.
Oh,
especially if you walk through like human waste and stuff. The hookworm likes to burrow through your foot, so be careful where you're walking. If you're walking barefoot.
Oh, I know where I'm walking. I check before I step.
How does the
Gotcha.
hookworm make it through the stratum luceum?
You got cracks in your feet.
I do?
Yep.
You do?
Yeah.
I
I'm
do.
sure you do. All right.
Moving on. Grassman.
Grassman is
Bigfoot.
supposedly.
I think you mean knock off Bigfoot.
Well, but he's grass.
Knock off
Also, I want to
Bigfoot.
point out he's 7 foot tall, but only 300 pounds. That's not particularly large.
How do you
That's
how do you
true,
get the
actually.
weight of a cryptid?
Man, that's what the Columbus Navigator told me.
Well, that one article that I shared from Obscure or whatever over at the Mazda Museum in Findlay. You know, there at the University of Findlay. There's a museum for like children's books, and that all those pictures that I shared with you are over there. Too bad it's closed. But yeah, that's where the Grassman is. That's kind of the Bigfoot, but it's Bigfoot, Yeti. What are some other names for Bigfoot? Bigfoot, Yeti, Sasquatch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
So
says the difference between the two is that a grassman has a more human-like appearance.
well, also in some of the articles I read, it said that he's only got 3 toes.
Yeah, I read
Yeah,
that
which-
as well.
In the picture that I saw in the article that Mr. Monsour is talking about, actually, it just kind of looked like a gorilla. Like it had like that hand feet.
Ooh,
and it had-
Well, the thing is, with 3 toes, I don't know of any animal on Earth that only has 3 toes. And if they're going to be human-like, they have to have 5. Sorry.
Velociraptors.
But that's not a primate.
Don't deer kind of have?
No, but they have a hook. A hook.
But it could look like it could be misinterpreted.
No, there's ungulates. Never mind.
I was appreciating where that was going, though. I feel like that was good content.
Oh, 3-toed sloth.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You only knew that because it was in the name, but
But yeah, it's in the name. But
you
like,
got him there.
I got
So that's it. We solved the mystery. It's a
But-
hairy sloth.
it's a giant sloth.
But if a Bigfoot's supposed to be human-like, really should have 5 toes. Just saying.
Yeah.
But it's the Grassman, not Bigfoot.
So what? Okay, Joey. So, where do you think? So what was the story of the Grassman? Did they ever actually give the backstory?
I didn't.
He's just
I couldn't
in
find the
Cuyahoga
reference.
Valley National Park. He hangs out there.
And guess what? That's where your postcard is from, Jimmy.
Maybe I'm the grass man.
No.
No, do you have 3 toes?
You have 3 toes?
No, I got 5.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
I had
he's
to double check.
Grassman.
Did you ever go to Cuyahoga National Forest is the only national forest, I think, east of the Mississippi, but it's basically between Cleveland and Akron. It's you can go to actually park outside of Cleveland where you're in the middle of nowhere. But I have ran through the Cuyahoga National Forest. I've never seen the Grassman.
Ah,
Well,
He's
that's
one
only
of
one
people, but-
experience.
What's that?
It's only one experience. You need multiple to get a good encounter, you know?
Yeah, no.
I don't know if they call him the Eastern Bigfoot, but I feel like there's supposed to be Bigfoot in Maine.
Yeah.
I think also like South Carolina is like
Yeah.
a hotbed for Sasquatch activity.
Yeah,
So-
I'm pretty sure Bigfoot sightings have been like all over the country, like even in
Yeah.
Ohio. So like,
How come we've never caught one? Like, why have we not seen one on a like wildlife cam?
I think they're probably just very elusive.
I don't care what you think, feel, or believe, right? I
Yeah.
haven't busted that out in a while.
I would
I
consider
haven't.
that Bigfoot removes trail cams that he gets up because trail cams flat. So I bet he runs
Yeah,
over
just
there
pulls out a
just all
Phillips-
mad like.
No, he just pulls out a Phillips head screwdriver and screws it out of the tree.
Yeah, if you're thinking like the Bigfoot that's in the big, like the Slim Jim commercials, right? Is that a
Yeah, he's angry.
No, it's a beef jerky commercial, isn't it?
Oh,
Yeah, Slim Jim.
Yeah.
Is it Slim Jim?
Yeah, it's
he
Slim
goes
Jim.
Slim Jim, and then
No,
he also
it's
does
Jack Links.
Jack
Jack
Links.
Links.
Black Links.
I'm pretty sure Slim Jim also did some stuff with Sasquatch too.
So did Progressive.
yeah, I mean,
This
there's not really
Sasquatch?
a copyright
Or
on
was that
that.
Cro-Magnon?
What?
Yeah, Progressive did Cro-Magnons, I think.
Oh yeah.
They were Cro-Magnons. They had the outward brow.
So
So-
just for a second, what do we think that Bigfoot actually is?
Nothing, because it doesn't exist.
So let me ask you this: what have people that say they've seen Bigfoot actually seen?
Probably something they made up in their imagination that
You don't
they
think it's
wanted
just
to
like
see.
maybe a bear standing up on its hind legs, or
A bear? I don't know. I
like
feel like the most plausible thing is that it's a dude in a suit.
So,
Or like they're just saying it so that they get on the news.
there's a famous video made in the 70s about Sasquatch. Like an actual guy had like a old school 8mm.
Mhm.
The movie that I was thinking of that freaked me out was made in 1976. It's called it's something like The Secret of Bigfoot or whatever. So that's the one that because I just Googled it, and that's the one that kind of freaked me out. But I think if you watch one of the DNAs last week, I talked because all last week's DNAs was prepping you guys for I was kind of doing some stuff, and there was this one about folklore and how people make up stories, right? So Sasquatch or Bigfoot came out of some reason, and so you think about now what's going to be the Sasquatch of the pandemic. What kind of things are people going to start to make? In 100 years from now, when we're all gone and somebody's reading through your pandemic journals, and who's going to write something down about some kind of creature that emerged out of the
Corona
city.
cat.
So okay, let's go with that. All right, Jimmy, go with the Corona cat.
Yeah, what's the Corona cat like?
I'm gonna start writing fake
So
journals
essentially,
being the corona.
I'm gonna go with the Corona cat is a cat that's owner died from the coronavirus, and it now haunts people who have flu-like symptoms.
So here's the thing.
How
There's a
big is
difference.
That's not a creature then. That's
That's not a, wait, hold up. Are you talking about a ghost or a cryptid? So a cryptid is gonna be like a Sasquatch.
It's a cat.
Okay, how big is it?
8 feet tall.
I was gonna say 7 feet long.
Because if you notice, not gonna happen.
7 feet long.
No. Thermodynamics would not allow that. Anyway,
That's way too big.
This cat can't exist because it violates the laws of thermodynamics.
It can't.
I'm just saying, we're going to have to apply some free energy to this problem.
It's got an extra set of legs.
No, but think about this. How many of those cryptids actually hurt a human or hurt anybody?
I think one of them killed
actually,
somebody. Mothman killed a bunch of people on a bridge.
Or thinking about bringing up is what these creatures, what do they want? What do people think that they want with people?
To be alone.
Joey's raising his hand.
I have something I'd like to say.
Oh, go ahead, Joey.
It is your show, partially your show.
It is my show, so I'm just going to say it.
Yeah, go ahead.
So there's this lizard man in South Carolina in Lee County, and the lizard man has actually attacked a car as people were in it, and there's scratch marks on the car, with 3 claw marks in a same length and everything, and
lizards only have three phalanges.
Yeah, only 3 phalanges, and it basically tore this car apart trying to get to these people, but it didn't break through the glass or anything, which I thought was weird. It was trying to attack these people in a car, but it didn't go through
Why would it know what glass was?
Well, I don't know. It was able to tear through the metal parts of a car. I think it'd be able to go through glass.
I think it's an alligator.
Through it.
Do you have any photo documentation of this car?
Right now?
Yes.
I'll look
No,
at it.
because I saw this all on Animal Planet.
Really? So did Animal Planet have a special on cryptozoology?
Animal Planet used to have a show on cryptozoology, and I used to watch it a lot. And there's one episode about the lizard man in Lee County and how it just ripped apart this car and everything.
Because the Mothman of West Virginia, there wasn't actually a movie made about that one. It's actually because me and Miss Marshall were talking about it one day. The Mothman of West Virginia.
Yeah, I've never liked that West Virginia gets to take Mothman.
Yeah,
I
like we
think
share it.
it's right across the river from wherever he's at, or it's at.
It's
I
across
guess
the
Mothman.
it's across the Ohio.
But that one, there's actual like a movie was made, and I don't know. So, are you looking it up, Tim?
This is
I
the
found this
cover
image.
supposedly that the lizard man. It just looks like somebody's covering for a fender bender.
Does that look like a fender bender? No, that looks like someone shot into their
As
car.
you say, that
I
looks
think
like
they got
bullet holes.
shot.
Looks like somebody took a 22 or something. Kid probably got in trouble, went home and told his dad or mom or whoever, "Oh, the lizard man attacked me instead of my getting shot up." But
You know, I know this is actually very on topic, but the thing with Mothman that's weird to me is that the Native Americans also kind of talked about Mothman.
well, it's a folklore, so they probably had some try to explain something.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the first sighting by, I guess, non-Native Americans was when in '66 when the bridge got goofed.
Yeah.
So like, it's not like it was talked about a lot before that, and they just blamed the bridge on Mothman. Like, there's the pictures, and then
Because what happened on the bridge, I forget.
basically a bridge collapsed. But before it did, like, I think it was a day before they were getting
Yeah,
pictures
like,
of it.
and Mothman was sighted.
Mothman
like,
was on top of
What
it.
would the Mothman have done to the bridge?
Well, the thing, I think he's supposed to be like an omen.
Yeah, like it's
If
a
he
sign
shows
of bad
something
things to
bad
come.
is gonna happen.
So if you see the Mothman,
Yeah,
Don't
if
go
you
near
see
that
the
area.
Yeah. Or like you're screwed.
I don't think it's you
I
specifically.
don't think it's personal. Yeah.
I think it's where he's at. So like if you saw him on top of like Town Hall, don't go to Town Hall the next day.
Mothman's an anarchist.
Mothman is destroying these places. But apparently for the Native Americans, they like said he would destroy crops and pick up kids. Like just grab kids and leave.
so maybe it kind of goes back to other stories that they try to explain. So maybe you know,
It could just be a big hawk.
Oh, you know what I think is the funniest part about Mothman?
Tell us what you think.
How he got his name.
How do you get his name?
No, he got his name. Well, he was originally.
Because he looks like a moth.
No, he was originally described as a bat-like creature, but Batman was already taken by DC Comics, so they just
No.
yes, yeah. So for legal reasons, they didn't name him Batman, but they named him Mothman.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah, I'm not joking. That was in the cryptozoology thing I watched on Animal Planet.
Wow.
Why didn't they just call him like Bat Fella?
Bat guy.
Because that doesn't sound as terrifying.
All right, Mr. Monsour looks like he wants to move on. How about
No,
the
I'm
Minerva
fine.
Monster?
I changed my name to I don't believe in Bigfoot.
Oh!
Oh.
Wow. So the Minerva Monster, another Bigfoot type creature.
I'm over Bigfoot at this point.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've never even heard.
Yeah, I'm.
All right, good enough.
Bigfoot carbon copy.
Okay, well, Cedar Bog Monster is just Bigfoot
It's
again.
just Bigfoot again, but in a swamp. Louisiana
Orange
Bigfoot.
Eyes.
Oh
That's
yeah,
a good one.
What's Orange Eyes? Sounds
Orange
like a song
Eyes.
by
It's
Akon.
It's an 11-foot tall fellow with
1,000
orange
pounds.
eyes. This is what he looks like.
1,000
Oh, you can see
pounds.
the eyes.
Yep.
And where was that one at again? Orange Eyes?
Orange Eyes is Charles Mills Lake. Charles Mills
So
Lake.
what's the story behind him?
Yeah.
So they say he's 11 foot tall, 1,000 pounds, and he was spotted in 1991 when it appeared before two fishermen in Mill Creek before retreating into the nearby woods. Some locals believe that Orange Eyes was actually an alien due to the fact that a green beam and UFO were spotted in the area in the 1970s. Whatever Orange Eyes was, it hasn't been seen in over 20 years.
Because it doesn't exist. Could you imagine an 11-foot monster just tromping through the woods?
That would be so noticeable.
And he has orange eyes.
1,000
It says he's 1,000 pounds.
You
11
would
foot
hear
tall.
that coming.
1,000 pounds.
Who believes these things? That a 1,000-pound orange-eyed monster tromping through the woods.
Yeah.
Not
11,
Stranger Things, guys. Sorry.
11 feet is 1,000 pounds is a lot for 11 feet.
He's a hefty fella.
You remember Grassman was like 7 foot tall and only 300 pounds. I mean, by
It's
that
just
logic.
4 additional feet.
So what makes this man so dense? Because
He's
you
an
know they're
alien.
estimating the weight, right? So like they estimated that the Bigfoot guy was 300 pounds.
Yeah, like
What makes?
what if Orange Eyes is watching this and he got a complex now because he's like, I'm not 1,000 pounds, I'm only 400.
Yeah, he's like I'm
He's like, I'm
skinnier than
not fat, I'm just a
Bigfoot.
big
I
dog."
weigh less than Bigfoot.
Well,
He's a really self-conscious monster.
he's like, I'm gonna listen to my favorite podcast, Exotic Trash, because they're talking about me today. Wait a second. I don't weigh
These guys
1,000
are being
pounds.
mean to me.
Orange Eye sounds lame.
Okay.
What about
Okay,
the Puckwudgie?
what?
The Puckwudgie. I think that's how you pronounce it.
I'm sorry, what?
It's like a little troll monster that's half porcupine.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was my fault. I did that one. Sorry.
I saw that picture. They had a picture of it on the one. If you go to that website, Atlas Obscura, it has all these kind of weird like folklore stuff and Ohio folklore, that kind of stuff. I shared the link with Joey, right?
Yeah, I shared it with. I shared it with them.
Yeah, you guys didn't do your homework.
I did
did.
my homework.
So
So,
According to this,
This
the Puckwudgie is some sort of a creature that will appear and disappear, trying to lure people to their deaths using magic. And they will launch magic or poisonous arrows.
is it an archer or a magician? I'm confused.
I don't
Does it-
know.
does it launch him with a bow or does it just kind of?
This one is definitely fake.
I don't know. I kind of believe this one. Look at that.
Oh, ew!
it lives underneath a bridge, so it's like a troll
I think it's meant to be.
or an angry leprechaun.
Do you think it speaks English?
I don't think it speaks.
Oh, so it's just.
Well, here's the thing: so these animals have to communicate with each other if they're gonna, survive. But we've only seen one of them.
Well, I don't think Bigfoot's gonna.
Going back to Bigfoot, even though I don't believe in Bigfoot, they have these like recordings of Bigfoot. You can supposedly hear like the Bigfoot calling out into the in the wilderness, and people make like they have like if you go hunting, you have like a duck call. People have like Bigfoot calls, right?
Yeah.
Ooh, that seems risky. Imagine accidentally getting like a Bigfoot mating call. He's just got Bigfoot running at you. That'd be horrifying.
It doesn't exist.
You better hope so.
I don't believe in Bigfoot.
I was
believe in
told
you.
if you shake a small tree and like the ones that will like move when you shake them, like that's how you can attract a Bigfoot.
By shaking a tree.
Yeah, by shaking
Is
a
that
tree.
kind of like that Outcast song, "Shake It Like a Polaroid Picture"? This guy shake it like
Yeah,
a.
except when you
Polaroid
shake the tree.
picture. Shake, 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 shake.
So I feel like we should bring up Wendigos real quick because I know someone here.
Wait.
is
First, I want to
really-
do the oldest. I want to do the oldest one in Ohio.
Okay.
The Crosswick monster.
Oh yeah, that was like 200 years ago.
Last seen nearly 200 years ago.
What is the Crosswick monster?
So it's 20 miles north of Loveland's Frogman territory.
Of course, that's a hotbed for cryptozoology. We'll call it the cryptozoology triangle.
Now this one's kind of different because it actually killed a child.
So it was 200 years ago. So there's probably not actual.
So according to the reports, two young boys.
Cholera.
Yeah, well, according to the reports, two young boys were playing on the banks of a small creek when they were startled by a massive snake-like creature. The monster sprouted arms and snatched one of the boys, dragging him nearly 100 yards to a massive sycamore tree that was assumed to be its den. Then a bunch of the city's men came back and cut down the 26-foot diameter tree. And
26 feet in diameter.
yeah, 26-foot diameter tree.
A big tree.
Yeah, it was cut down.
Sycamore.
Yeah, by the men. Yeah, the men noted the serpent creature reappeared when they did this, and the men noted that it was between 12 to 14 feet tall. The monster then escaped the men, crashing through a fence before darting into a cavern.
Some of these things are just too big.
Did the other kid survive?
Yeah, the other kid wasn't eaten. This one is weird because...
Wait, was the kid eaten? Did they ever find the child?
They never found the child.
So he could have just ran away.
Well, but it says that 60 men claim to have witnessed this, like, specific creature.
And that was the entire city.
Probably.
Like, it was a mass hysteria, right?
It's either mass hysteria or I wouldn't be surprised if it was a really long snake.
In Ohio?
You don't have snakes that big in Ohio that's going to eat a child.
200 years ago, we might have. I mean, it's...
No.
200? No, not even 200 years ago.
Think about what you just said.
What, snakes? I see snakes all the time. There's garter snakes.
Are they,
First of all,
are they 11 to 12 feet?
That attitude, lose your attitude, Jimmy. All right?
You know what? This is our podcast.
I know.
If we want to get into arguments, we'll get into arguments.
What is the biggest snake you've seen in Ohio, Jimmy, that's going to eat a child?
When was the last time you saw a 20? When was the last time you saw a 26-foot diameter tree in Ohio?
Exactly. I can't imagine they'd have trees that. I don't think sycamores get that big. You need to.
That's what it says. But what I'm saying is, if a tree could be that long,
that's not a long diameter. Come on now. We know you're a math major, but.
Well, I'm saying that's a big tree. If a tree could be that big, then right? Why couldn't a snake be that big?
You get there's. I don't even think snakes. You're saying 26. Wait, how long was the snake again?
12 to 14 feet.
Unless it was some kind of python.
Could have been.
Yeah, and pythons don't live in Ohio. Like we have a python in Ohio, but it's small. I think it gets like 6 feet at most.
So this was a big one.
Still fairly skinny. No.
Wait, whoa! Python, the Ohio python.
Yeah.
Oh no.
It's not.
Okay.
Okay.
Joey, can you get on your phone and Google that for me?
I'm Googling it.
Native Ohio pythons, please.
He's looking.
I'm Googling it. I'm Googling it.
And it's going to come up as nothing. I don't think we have any constrictors in Ohio.
Take your time.
You get,
Yep, thank you. Here. Joey, see my pen? Joey.
Wow.
He's writing me in his burn book. He's writing about me in his burn book.
The burn book. So what was it then? Did it just not exist? Something ate the kid.
It was probably the other kid. If this is just where my head went, but maybe the kids were like getting into something, and the one kid died, and the other kid was freaking out and didn't want to get in trouble, so he told this story about a snake or a monster.
Okay, but
that got
the giant Ohio python.
But then what about that point where it ran out from the tree that they were cutting down?
That I don't know. That could have just been people freaking out when they were cutting down.
Well, I mean, people back then also believed that if a woman were to sink in a pond, she's a witch.
Well, that's true.
So, like, you can't really, like...
No, that's actual science.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Pseudoscience, yet again.
No, that one's... There are no pythons in Ohio. Mr. Monsour will back me up on that one. If a woman sinks, she is a witch.
No.
Is that not?
No.
Are we going to Salem witch trials now?
I think
they were all hallucinating. They were all hallucinating because they had a really the ergot. The rye got it's called ergot, ERGOT, and they're all hallucinating. They're all
ergo.
No, ergot.
That's the one. Is that the structure? The structure of it like mimics LSD.
I don't know if it's LSD, but it's
a psycho. Yeah.
Psychoactive. What, Joey?
Wendigos. Let's talk about those.
What are Wendigos? Like Winnebagos?
No.
Yes.
Not at all.
Same thing, actually. Believe it or not.
So
These
All
things-
ears.
they come from Native American folklore, and they've been described to look multiple ways because, with cryptozoology, there is no exact
usually
way
like a
something
deer.
looks. Usually like a deer. Sometimes other animals are involved in the mix. But
If it's other animals, it's a skinwalker. A Wendigo is
Okay.
only a deer.
Don't. So, Joey, just mute Jimmy because I don't want to hear about skinwalkers.
Well, Jimmy is actually the host of this.
Oh,
I actually think you'll find
sorry,
that
sorry, Jimmy.
all of the power resides within my grasp.
Oh, he just muted Joey. Don't look. Oh.
I can just unmute myself.
Yes, that's true.
Oh.
But that's all right.
I was
All right, sorry. Keep going, Joey.
So I was taught that the best way to attract a Wendigo is to whistle really loudly at night, and they respond.
With a whistle?
I don't
Yeah,
remember
like
ever
a really
hearing that.
loud whistle. Well, yeah, it's been stated by Native Americans, like in their folklore, that if you whistle loud at night, that's how you attract a Wendigo. And obviously, it's not like summoning something to do something for you, but it's more like, yeah, don't whistle at night, or you'll bring a Wendigo here and it'll destroy us, like it'll kill us.
So maybe that's the idea. Like, if you're at night, you don't want to be found, so you don't make any noise.
Right.
Because sometimes, because you whistle at night or something. Like, if you can, at dusk, you can call in. You can make owl calls. Have you ever heard a screech owl? It's kind of scary. Not scary, but
Yeah. I don't think I've heard a screech owl, but I've heard owls around my property sometimes.
Yeah,
That's cool.
if you go online, because I don't know if you guys kind of live out in the woods, and you just record a screech owl on whatever, and you go outside and play it, you might actually have them call back to you.
Oh, that's cool.
Because
And
one time, good.
I feel like the whole not whistling at night was also like a safety thing, so like a war tribe that was trying to conquer another tribe was to keep them safe. So if they whistled loud at night, they'd be able to track down the sound of where they're at.
See, I can't whistle.
I can't either.
I wouldn't be able to track any Winnebagos. When needs to go.
I don't know if Winnebago is correct, and it could be.
Did you see a car crash through my window? I don't even have a window.
I'm in the basement. No, I don't know. I feel like, or I don't feel anything, actually. I'm numb.
Because we don't care about what you think.
Yeah.
Believe.
I don't know. I think as a whole, cryptozoology is kind of neat.
Yeah.
It's definitely interesting to read about.
I
Yeah.
will say, here's one that's not cryptozoology and just a thing that happened. They call it the Peninsula Python. And
Reed, there are no pythons in Ohio.
no, there was this one time. The story, there really was, because in
not
listen.
naturally.
Yeah, not naturally. Listen, in 1944, a circus train car tipped over,
Of course, it's a circus train car.
and a 20-foot python escaped, and then it basically went around and it ate a bunch of dogs, and that's.
Probably wouldn't survive though, because the winters get too cold.
Yeah, that's what happened. It died in the winter. It only happened through August.
Because when I was in high school, our neighbor had a Burmese python that escaped out of their house, and everybody was freaked out. So we went out looking for it. We never did find it. It probably died in the winter. And I told you how the one time I had the rock python in class.
In class, yeah.
I didn't find it for 2 weeks.
Where'd you find it at again?
It was wrapped on the register. This was probably 15 years ago when I was in across the hall in 104. Yeah. But
Why'd you have a snake anyway?
I just had all kinds of pets in the classroom. People would just drop off stuff. I was like a home for wayward animals. I had hamsters and fish and salamanders and snakes. And then once everything started to die off, I didn't get anything new.
I miss. Remember Big Papa, Joey?
I remember Big Papa.
Big Papa's still in that jar. I haven't been to my classroom since March 13th. So yeah, so Big Papa's still in his jar, preserved.
I miss Big Papa. He was a good roach.
Throw your antenna in the air if you's a true player.
Waving around like you just don't care.
I think we could make I think we could make Papa Roach a.
Papa Roach? You ever listen to Papa Roach?
Is that a rapper?
Papa Roach is an actual.
Yeah, do it real quick, Jimmy. Type in Papa Roach, and I wonder what song will come up.
Papa Roach. I was just gonna say we could make him a cryptid, but I guess he.
No, not Papa Roach.
No, that like with the Mothman, that's already taken.
What song comes up, Jimmy?
Last resort.
Yep. Take my.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. I hate the name Papa Roach though.
Deal with it.
I was gonna use that for Big Papa, but now I can't.
No. Everything's still. The room is as it is when I left it on March 13th, so it's gonna be like a time capsule.
There's gonna be a lot of
there's
dead
dust
animals
on everything, isn't there?
those
I think
roly
they've been
polies.
cleaning. Hopefully, I fed them before I left. So.
I have faith. They'll be all right.
They're gonna eat each other.
Maybe, who knows?
That could be another
What?
cryptozoology.
What?
Cannibalistic roly polies.
Well, I think whatever folklore comes out of this time, it's gonna be based around the quarantine and like people never going back into. You know what I mean? There's gonna be some kind of story. And like I think I talked about this in like one of my very first DNAs. Was like, what kind of stories are like? We talked about this in the horror movie one. Like, what's gonna be?
Yeah.
I don't think it's gonna be zombies. Or I don't know. Maybe it might be like I Am Legend.
I think zombie related or like people going insane in
I was
quarantine.
gonna say somebody went insane and they only leave their house at night. It's the creepy house on the corner. That's gonna be the new scary story.
Well, I've heard stories like coming out of like New York City where people will like wait till night and they'll just roam around like Brooklyn at like 3 a.m. when no one's around. So are people gonna like become night walkers as opposed to skin slippers or whatever?
Hey, I'm night walking here.
Oh God, not a night walker.
Hey, I'm night walking here.
There you go. There's your cryptozoology. They're night walkers.
Night
So
walkers. Yeah.
There, we've just named it. So if someone has to write it down into a book, stash it in a wall somewhere, for someone to find like in 50 or 60 years, you gotta make it the story of the night walker. You know what I mean?
Night walkers. Yeah.
Night walkers.
That'll be the Bigfoot of the 22nd century or whatever.
20.
Hey, I'm night
Which century is this?
This is the 21st. Maybe 22nd.
We are
I'm
the
just saying.
21st.
Yeah, it's not the 21st anymore, is it?
No, it still is. You know, it hasn't been 100 years since the year 2000, right?
And why?
Are you mistaking decades with centuries?
No, why did they always say like, oh, the 21st century and like movies from the
It's always
80s?
one off. Like
Yeah.
19th century, 20th. This is 21st.
Yeah. Oh, silly Jimmy. It's okay.
All right. So from this, we've concluded that there are pythons in Ohio.
No.
It is real.
No.
And Wendigos are not.
Winnebagos.
Winnebagos, yeah.
I thought you were saying Wendy's to go. I'm like a bacon.
I would love some Wendy's right now. I haven't
I would
eaten
love
yet
some
today.
Wendy's too.
All I've had is this refreshing Dr. Pepper and cream soda available.
Dr.
now.
Pepper, please sponsor us.
Dr. Pepper is our sponsor for this video.
Do you ever like when you put these out on Twitter or anything? Do you ever put like you ever tag or at somebody?
Oh, yeah, all the time. I tag
Ice-T.
Ice-T, Ryan Reynolds, Dr. Pepper, Chipotle.
Shout out to Ice-T.
Because I'm trying to shout out to Ice-T for allowing us to make a podcast about him for the first episode.
And then
Has he responded at all, or
he liked it.
He liked it.
So who would you send this one out to?
Dr. Pepper.
Dr. Pepper.
Mr. Anderson.
Mr. Anderson. Yeah, he's a busy guy, I think.
Still. He's got time for an episode with his old pal, Mr. Monsour, in it.
Maybe I'll see. He used to do shout outs for us back in the day. He Skyped with a couple years ago, probably about 5 years ago, he Skyped with the class just for fun.
Huh.
But anyways.
And that's cryptozoology, this strange case of the phantom Mr. Anderson.
No, he actually exists. No. So what did we learn? So Tim, what did you learn from today's episode? I'm going to ask all of these questions. So think about it. What did you learn?
Well, even just doing research for the episode, I I just realized how many stories about different creatures there are for around us, like in the Ohio area. Like I always just considered like the worldwide known ones like Bigfoot and the Loch Ness Monster and stuff.
And we never did talk about Loch Ness, but anyways.
Yeah, that's true. But I guess I never really considered for the local areas what we had.
Well, now you have the night crawlers of the Sandusky River.
Yeah.
Ooh.
You go down to Shekelhoff Park at like 10 o'clock at night, right? You can see it walking down the middle of the river looking for whatever.
Crawfish.
Mr. Simcoe, most important thing you learned besides what a Winnebago was.
So I feel like the most important thing I learned is that if you're going to lie to tell a story, at least keep the story straight. Because, all these stories are different about all these different cryptids, and like you can't keep the story straight on them because everyone has something new about it, and then it just messes up all the folklore about it, and it just goes to show that it's like further evidence to show that it's not real because people can't keep their stories straight. It's not like real evidence, but it's like eyewitness testimony being faulty.
So do you think with as much like people communicate, because like a lot of those folklore were passed down like verbally, right? So you would tell a story. Now, since all you guys do is communicate with your cell phones, do you think folklore is still a thing that's going to be able to occur? Because when was the last time you were able to sit around a fire and tell stories? Now, granted, this is quarantine, pre-quarantine. Like, did you ever sit around a campfire and tell stories? I mean, do people still do that?
Would have been at my house.
Yeah, it would have been at Jimmy's house or my house even. We've done it at my house.
You had a fire at your house?
We've had
Okay.
fires at my house.
Oh, we have. I just don't remember them very well.
Okay, focus.
Yeah.
Did you guys tell stories, though, like folklore stories?
Yeah.
Yeah,
If I ever
obviously, we
told a
tell a couple
scary
tall
story,
tales.
it wasn't folklore. I was more just making up a scary story. But
So next time you guys go to Big Lots parking lot and sit in your whatever,
yeah.
there you go.
Jeep.
That's modern folklore. You can talk about the, what I call it, night walker?
Nightcrawler.
No, not night crawler. That's
It's a
an
night
X-Men.
walking.
Nightcrawler is Kate.
Nightwalkers, yeah.
Not night crawler.
It's a night walking
That's an X-Man
Yes,
character.
it is. Don't mess with X-Men. It's Night Walker.
Night Walker. Night
Night
Jogger. Night Power Walker.
Night Jogger. They're not running fast enough. They're a jogger. Night Jogger. Jimmy,
Night
Yeah.
jogger.
what did you learn?
I learned that
Jimmy?
Joey was very confident in his answer that there were pythons in Ohio until he
I
was.
thought there were.
But actually, I learned that cryptids in Ohio probably are fake, but they might be real. That's what I learned. Did I take the wrong message out of this episode?
Maybe you did.
Does everyone agree? You thought wrong. Okay.
You thought wrong. I just
Thought
saw
wrong.
that.
All right.
I like the ability to change my name. Hey,
Hey, Dad. Yeah. What's up?
Guest appearance on podcast.
What's up? Oh, okay.
High budget productions.
anyways.
Is that
Uh,
we want to steer this episode to a close?
yeah, let's
I probably should at this point.
close
Alright.
it.
Alright.
This has been the Exotic Trash Podcast, and I've been your host, Joey Simcoe.
I've been your co-host, Jimmy
You thought wrong.
I said co-host wrong?
No.
Okay.
Look at
Tim's
Mom's
been
words, man.
Tim, and Mr. Monsour has been you thought wrong.
I'll put. Well, I just want to say it's been a pleasure to be a guest here on Exotic Trash, and yeah, so you guys
It's
are
been a
doing
pleasure
good.
having you.
And when you guys post this, make sure you tag me in it or whatever, and enjoy your last 2 weeks. Enjoy your last 2 weeks of being seniors. And Tim, yeah, you're still Tim. You're awesome.
Great job, Tim.
All right, well, I'm going to sign off from the Monsour Center for Excellence in Education. So I'm going to leave the meeting so you guys can wrap up, but thanks again, and yeah, stay safe, all right?
Yeah,
All
you
right,
too.
good luck.
Thanks for stopping in. Wow,
Well,
that guy.
What a guy.
What a guy.
All right, this has been the Exotic Trash Podcast. I hope you all are staying safe out there, staying quarantined. You know, you got to flatten the curve. Flatten the curve.
No, I don't believe in it.
Even as places reopen up, keep social distancing until there's a vaccine.
Or don't. Who cares?
The
Dude,
curve
shut
is
up.
not going
Stop.
to stay
Stop that. What? Stop.
We don't get funded by the government. Why do I care? Where's my
Guys,
stimulus check?
If we don't keep flattening the curve, there's going to be less people to watch Exotic Trash.
I don't get paid for exotic trash either.
None of us do. Just out of human decency, don't do that.
All right, fair enough. Thanks, everybody. Make sure you stay at least 7 feet away from each other. And, you know.
Yep.
Practice
Social distancing.
distancing socially, I guess.
Yeah. So like you wanna hit stop recording? Or just gonna keep this off?
At some point. I think at some point I'll stop. It's going to be like an hour episode.
Yeah, it's
It's going to be very.
Do we want to call this a special episode?
no, because that's just, I don't know.
A
I feel
Halloween
like
episode?
Why?
Why are
It's
you
not
standing
Halloween?
up right now, Joey?
Because I'm stretching out my limbs. I was sitting down for an hour.
All right, now that guy shut up. I think this has been a good special episode, and we should be definitely ready to. All right, I'm gonna steer to a close. I've been your host, Jimmy Skidmore, and Tim has
Joey
been
is-
Tim.
Joey
I
is
am the host.
Goodbye.